Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for stopping by to check out my latest video. And today I'm here continuing to work on the hashtag Little Bits of Lace 2024, started by Cori Dahmen here on YouTube. And basically the premise of this challenge is to use up little bits of lace in our journals, and I've been doing kind of a whole series here on my YouTube channel based on her challenge of different ideas of using up little bits of lace in our journals. And so I do have an envelope flip journal that I'm working on and using up little bits of lace. So far, as you guys can see, it's really chunky. I'm probably going to have to add some lace here at the end to kind of hide some of this. But I've been having lots of fun using up little bits of lace from my stash and coming up with some different ideas. If you're just joining in for the first time, I do have all the information listed below in the description box. If you open it up, I do have links for Cori Dahmen's channel. I have links for all my past videos for this series, and also I just typed up the list of my different ideas. And one of the things that I realized last week is I needed to add a few more journal cards into my journal, and so I thought maybe I would devote one of my episodes of the Little Bits of Lace hashtag to making some journal cards. I do have quite a few that I'm going to make today, so it might be a little bit of a longer episode. I'm not quite sure. I have prepped most of them so that it doesn't take quite as long. And I do have this open up. Of course, I still have to sew in my signature, but I do have this spot right here that has an envelope and it's empty, so I do need to add a journal card there. So I'm going to go ahead and create that as my first journal card for today. So I did cut out using a scrap piece of scrapbooking paper, and again I'm working with a paper pad from Hobby Lobby. I think it's called Distress Florals. So I did cut it out to fit into that envelope, and I did punch that top on it. And let's see if I do have that paper punch sitting here. I'm not sure if I have it here sitting here or not. It looks like it's one like this one, I believe, from the We Are Memory Keepers punch. That's what it looks like, in case you're interested. I did also ink the edges. I used the Victorian Velvet Tim Holtz ink for that. And I also sewed around the edges. And I backed the back of the scrapbooking paper with tea-dyed paper. Maybe at a later date I'll go ahead and add like a stamped image or something. I just don't have anything planned for that. I did grab out a couple of My Porch Prints digitals that I had, and I also inked the edges and sewed around the edges. So what I thought would be fun to do is to add some sort of interactive element while still keeping this relatively flat to put into the envelope. I do have a couple of little bits of lace. I have some off to the side also. But I was thinking I could maybe add some hinges so that, you know, these would open somehow. And so they would open up this way so you could journal on them. Plus you could journal on the tag. So I just have to kind of decide how I want to lay out these. And then I was going to add some lace maybe at the bottom of each of these. And I was thinking, you know, maybe have them open the opposite ways too. So maybe, hopefully I'm on camera here. Yep. So I'm thinking like you could open this one up with the hinge, and that would open, and you could also open this one if you wanted to. I just have scraps of paper that I folded, but you could use some sort of lace like this as your hinge also if you were trying to use up scraps of lace. So let's go ahead, and again, I think this is about, and let me look at the measurement, it's about maybe 1.25 inches, and I just folded it in half to make my hinge. And it's the same height as my journal card. And I might trim it down just a little bit, because it seems like it's a little bit long. And I might also ink the edges real quick of this. So I think that'll work. So let's go ahead and glue just the journal card to the hinge. And again, I'm just if you can see how I glued that down, I'm just gluing on the one part of the fold. I'll go ahead and glue this one down after I ink the edges, just to show you guys again. I'm still a little out of it. I am still getting over a cold, so I have been taking some cold medications, so my head's a little fuzzy sometimes, so I do apologize if my instructions aren't the best right now. But I'll try and repeat that with this one just so you guys can see, for those of you who are new to making hinges or flips. It's kind of like a little flip. I've done the flips already in this episode or this series. But so again, I have a piece of paper that's the same height as what I want to make the flip, so it's a hinge, and I folded it in half. And you got to decide which way you want it to open. So I do want this one to open up towards the right. So I am just going to add glue just on this bit right here. And I'm thinking this might be too long, so I'm going to cut just a little bit off the top. But again, I want it to hinge open this way, so I'm just going to add glue right here. And just use whatever your favorite type of glue is. I'm using tacky glue. And again, I'm just gluing to that top part for right now. So you can still see then on the inside the hinges right there. So now we're going to go ahead and glue these down. I'm going to trim. I can see a little bit of my hinge showing, so I'm just going to round the corners. This one looks okay. And so I think I want to do like this. So then on this one, this bottom one, you know, here's the hinge on the inside, but I'm going to open it up this way. I'm going to put glue right here. And I'm going to just kind of fold it back and just decide where I want to put it. I think I'm going to do like that. So now that one has the hinge glued down, and I can open it up. It'll flip open and you can journal on it. If you wanted to, you could add you know, some lace to decorate that, or if you had some pretty washi tape, you can also decorate that. Sometimes I like to leave it blank until I'm actually journaling on it, and then I can add some more decorative elements. So I'm just going to leave that one blank for right now. And again, we're going to glue this hinge down on this one. And I'm going to use this one maybe to help hold this one down. So this one's going to go right here. So again, I'm just going to put glue, not on the inside where I want the back side of where the hinge is. So I'm going to put glue right here. And I'm just going to flip it this way just so I can kind of see where I want it. So if this holds it down like that, I think I want that one to go right there. So then this will flip open and this will flip open, and that kind of gives you more journaling space. Plus you can journal on here. So lots of journaling space. And now, of course, since this is little bits of lace video, we got to add some lace on there. And I have this piece of like cotton lace, crochet lace. So I'm thinking I could put that one right there. And I had this little bit of pink one left over. And I was thinking that one maybe somehow I could glue on the bottom of this one. And I found this little remnant of some trim, and I was thinking maybe I could glue that on top of this one. And I think that'll work. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this lace down. And then let's go ahead and add a little bit of glue on this one. You could also sew your lace down if you wanted to on the edges. And there is our first journal card done. So I'm going to go ahead and get the stuff for the next journal card. So I do apologize. I was going to show you guys, I started working on this and realized that I forgot to push record. But I do have, in my journal, I have this spot right here that has an envelope that needs a journal card. And so I did have a piece of scrapbooking paper backed with tea-dyed paper. I inked the edges and sewed around them. And as far as what you missed is I did glue down part of a paper doily. It was just a remnant left over from some sort of past project. So I glued that down on top. And then I also had this remnant left over from a Stamperia paper pad. I'm not quite sure exactly which one, but I did sew down the edge with kind of a fancy stitch. And so I'm thinking that maybe somehow I could add that on the journal card. I like to add lots of layers when I can. I also have a My Porch Prints digital. And I was thinking I could layer that somehow. Again, another, I think this was My Porch Prints. And I was thinking that might go up there. I have the little remnant that came off of a lace with the flower on it. And I was thinking that could go up here somewhere. And then I also had this bridal trim lace. And I was thinking if I cut it down like right there, I could add that right there. And I'm thinking that might make kind of a nice little journal card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all those layers down. I just have to kind of decide where I want these. Making lots of layers with paper and lace is kind of one of my favorite things to do, and playing with, you know, paper scraps. So this is right up my alley. We'll glue this one down next. And you know, since this is little bits of lace, maybe I should add another little remnant of lace underneath this. So let's just cut off a little piece of this scrap. And there's what that journal card looks like. I really like that one. That one's really cute. I'm going to let that one dry, and I'm going to dig out the supplies for the next journal card. So the next spot in my journal that I wanted to add journal cards to were these two envelopes right here. And I'm pretty sure that these will fit in there. I just got to double check and make sure. And they do. Hopefully this one still fits in when it's sewed in. Yeah. Okay. So I have two of these to put in there. And so we're just going to add our little bits of lace to them. And I've already kind of done the prep work. I took pieces of the paper pad from Hobby Lobby, and I did a hinge like we did on the earlier tag. I also added some stamping on this one, and I went around the edges. And the digitals are My Porch Prints. And so the only thing we need to do is add some little bits of lace. So again, I went through my remnants basket and I found these two pieces. And I don't think it really matters which one I put on which. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. I'm just going to put it on the bottoms of these. And on one of our previous episodes, we talked about like paper and lace clusters, or just lace clusters. But I do have some clusters, and they just have music paper and a couple layers of lace and eyelash trim. And so I thought I could just decorate these real quick with those, and then I was going to add one more piece of lace remnant to them. And so I was just thinking to put them up in the corners, or you could put them down. Oh, I just want to make sure that I don't cover, I want to make sure that they still fit in the envelope. So I think I'm just going to put this one right there. And let's see, this one opens up this way. So maybe I will put this one right there. Just making sure that I think I like that flower and that one the best. So we'll go ahead and glue these down. So again, those open up, and of course you can journal also on the back side of those. So lots of journaling space. And then this one, you could even journal on the top of this one. Very cute. I really like those. So I am going to set those aside to dry, and we'll find the next spot that I want to add journal cards to in my journal. So the next spot in my journal that I wanted to add a journal card was, a while back we made the pretty lace window, and behind there I had this tuck spot right here, and so I did want to tuck a journal card behind there. And a while back when I was sick and I couldn't talk, I did do some of these journal cards. I took just a little index card, and these were ones that I bought at the thrift store, and they have a little bit of a discoloration to them. They look like they've maybe been lightly tea-dyed, but I did start off with those as my base. And I went through my scrap, like shabby chic paper scraps, and I layered on the journal cards, and I added doilies or remnants or partial pieces of doilies to all of them. I did music paper. So I decorated all of them, and I'll just show you those little, they're like little collaged journal cards. And I thought I could add some of these to a few spots in the journal. And of course, since this is the little bits of lace, I will be adding lace to them. This one, actually, the paper pad was called Shabby Rose. It was a Stamped Period one, and I just liked that, so I thought that would be cute. I figured maybe at some point I could add lace underneath the word Shabby Rose or something on that one. But I just wanted to show you guys the collage journal cards that I made. And again, it's just ripping up paper and gluing them down. I did ink all the edges, and I sewed around them. And so I just wanted to show you those. So I do have one of those right here picked out. And I thought we could decorate a couple of these. And this was one of the ones that I had picked out to decorate. And again, I dug through my scrap pile of lace, and this one stood out to me. It's just a dangle trim. But I was thinking it might be fun to glue it down somehow on here. And I think maybe the top. So if I glued that down just directly on there as some lace, and then I could layer on top of that with this digital from My Porch Prints. And again, I sewed around the edges and also added eyelash trim to it. I was thinking I could layer that somehow on here. And then I found this piece of like cotton trim that I could add either to the side or the bottom, or maybe add on to the journal card. I haven't decided, or I could put it up on the top up here too. But I figured I'd just start off with gluing these two pieces down, and then I'd figure out where I was going to put this one. You could, if you were just, you know, didn't have a dangle trim like this, you could just layer something like this, and that would be really pretty. If you just found a spot on your journal card, if you did a collage card. So I'm just going to glue this one, like I said, across the top. And I do want this one to be flat, so I am going to just add some glue on a few strategic spots on the back of this, just so it lays flat and the dangle doesn't come up. So now to decide where this should go, I think I like it right there. And now to decide if I want to add this little bit of lace somehow on here. And I might have to put something heavy on the top to hold that one down. And I'm not sure if that's the right piece of lace. I'm going to try this one left over from the previous journal card that we made. And I think I like that one better, so I'm going to go ahead and use this one. Sometimes you just don't know until you start playing with it. And like I said, I just kind of tried to grab. I had slight ideas what I wanted to do with these journal cards, and I just tried to grab out of my stash before I started filming. So that will look nice in that little tuck spot. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to put something heavy on this one and let that dry. Then the last spots that I wanted to work on today, last week or last episode we worked on the tuck spot, and I had this heart and I didn't have anything to go in it. So I thought we'd make a quick one, and then we'd use a couple more of those collage journal cards to put into the envelopes on the other side. So here was the one that I had already started for this pocket right here. And again, I just took a piece of the Hobby Lobby paper pad. I cut it to size. It was a scrap, but I cut it down a little bit so that it would fit behind here. I inked the edges and sewed around them. I did sew down a piece of scrap lace on the side that was pink as kind of an edging. And for that one, I thought I used another My Porch print. It was like a postage stamp with a rose on it. And I thought I could just layer that up on top right here and put the postage stamp on top of a remnant of lace. And I think that would look kind of nice tucked in that spot. So this one's kind of a quick, simple one. Again, you could call this, if you wanted to, a fabric or a lace and paper cluster or snippet. I'm just using the one layer of lace, but you could definitely add more. Or in one of our previous episodes, we had some other little clusters or snippets that we made. You could also add those if you already had them made. You could just add those on top. I thought about doing that. And there's what that one looks like. Kind of a quick, simple one. I still can add, you know, some stamped stuff on the back. You could add another piece of paper on the back if you wanted. On this side, I'm going to leave blank. I'm not going to decorate anymore because it is light enough to journal on. Or you could add a photo or something later. So I'm going to let that one dry. And then let's work on the ones that'll fit inside of the envelopes. So again, I have this one that I just pulled out. And I wanted to put journal cards on the inside of this one. And I'm thinking these will fit. Yep. So I do have, again, some remnants sitting here. I did pull out this dangle trim, and it was already the same size. So I was thinking that this one, again, since it's going on the top, I would be okay if I put this on the top of one of these. So I could put it there or there. I think I'm going to just temporarily put it right there. I had this pretty vintage lace left over from something. And maybe I'll set that one right there. I still have some more of this crocheted lace. So maybe I could cut that down to fit up there. Or maybe I could put it right there and cut it. Kind of like that. So maybe I'll do that. What else do I have? I have this one that I didn't use earlier. I wonder what that would look like. I also have this piece. I could cut this one in half and use part of it. Let's try that and see what that looks like. Because that might be kind of a nice edging one right there. I could put it on both sides and then just trim it to fit. Or just use it on one side. Maybe I'll just use it on one side. So I like that. I did pull this trim out too. Maybe I'll put that one right there. And then I had this piece of doily remnant, and I was thinking that I could add that maybe up there in the corner. I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all these down. So I really like that one. That one's really cute. So you can hopefully see that other little bit of lace I added right there. And then the lace dangle up at the top. So that'll be fun to put in that spot. And then let's glue this one down. I'll start with this piece. I do need to cut it, it looks like. And there's what this one looks like with just a little bit of lace added to that collage journal card. So again, these are going to go inside of these pockets here. And I think they're still kind of drying, so I don't want to stick them in yet. But I do want to add just a little bit of decoration to these. And so I did pull out some things that we've done in some of our earlier episodes. Just some of the labels that we made, the paper and lace clusters, the fabric and lace snippets with the buttons on them. And I'm thinking that we could add just a little bit of decoration to some of these. This one's too big, so I'll rule that one out right away. I do like that one with the Eiffel Tower on it. You know, that's kind of a fun little cluster. You could hang that off. You'd see some of the lace. I do have some of those labels. think I like those two the best, so those are the two that I'm going to glue down. And then that'll add just a little bit more decoration to this kind of white envelope. And again, this was from one of my previous episodes. Again, if you open up the description box, I think they were like paper and lace clusters or snippets. It was one of my earlier episodes, and I made a whole bunch. And so I've just been adding them as I see fit into this journal. And I think this will help decorate these pages up a little bit. Let's see if those are still drying. So here's what those look like added to that little envelope. I am going to let all of my journal cards dry, but I will come back and put them in place with you guys as soon as they're all dry. So one last look at all the journal cards now that they have dried, and then we'll go ahead and put them in my journal. Love how that one turned out. Here's one of the collaged ones that I added lace to the top. That one's cute. Another one of the collaged ones. And here is one of the flip ones. That flipped open. This one flipped that way. And journaling spot on the back. I just wrote the names of where I want them in my journal so that I remembered. And then this one was for the heart tuck spot. And then this long one, which also has the little flips on it. Very cute. All right, so let's pull out my journal and find where these belong. So I did have this tuck spot that we did the last episode, so I'm going to put this one right in there. And then I wanted to use some of these journal cards in these spots. I think that'll be cute with the dangles kind of hanging over the top there on that one. And then the opposite side I was going to add one of the journal cards to that one. I think that works. And what else did I have here? I had a journal card for this spot. And then I also had this one tag to put back on with the paper clip once I added that, so that's good. All right. I thought, yeah, right here was where I wanted to put these two. Fit nicely. So my journal is definitely starting to fill up. And let's see, I was going to put one in this envelope. So that one fits in there nicely. And I think the last one was, yeah, right here behind the lace window that we created a while ago. And that one was just going to fit in there. So I just got to check and see. Like I said, my getting very chunky. I don't know that I can do too much more in here. But that was fun to do. So thank you again, everybody, so much for watching today. And I will be back again later in the week or next week with another episode of the hashtag Little Bits of Lace 2024. I still have a couple more ideas, but they're kind of winding down. So maybe by the end of this month or maybe next month, I think I'm going to have to call it quits because my journal is getting very fat, and there's not much more I can add to it for ideas, I guess, without maybe starting a second journal. So I will be back again later. Until then, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and happy crafting.